Jesus said to his disciples, "But you are not to be called Rabbi, for you have one teacher, and you are all students, and call no one your father on earth, for you have one Father, the one in heaven. Nor are you to be called instructors, for you have one instructor, the Messiah. The greatest among you will be your servant. All who exalt themselves will be humbled, and all who humble themselves will be exalted."
I used to work with a guy who insisted everyone call him doctor even though we were just grabbing coffee in the break room. He'd correct people mid-conversation. "Actually, it's Dr. Johnson." It always made me cringe a little. Don't get me wrong, he'd earned his PhD and deserved respect for it. But there was something about the way he demanded the title that felt off. It reminded me of this passage where Jesus talks about titles and true greatness. Jesus is addressing a real problem here. And it's not just about ancient religious leaders. It's about our human obsession with hierarchy, status, and being recognized as important. The Pharisees loved their fancy titles, Rabbi, Father, Master, because these titles put them above others. They created distance instead of connection, superiority instead of service. But Jesus flips the script completely. He's essentially saying, you want to know what real greatness looks like? It's not about the title on your business card or how many people call you sir. It's about how willing you are to serve others. This hits different in our Instagram age, doesn't it? We're all competing for followers, likes, and recognition. We want to be seen as experts, influencers, thought leaders. I remember when I first started getting some recognition in my field, the temptation was real, to let it go to my head, to start believing my own hype. I caught myself name-dropping and subtly mentioning my achievements in conversations. It was embarrassing when I realized what I was doing. I was falling into the same trap Jesus warned about 2,000 years ago. Here's what I love about Jesus's approach. He doesn't say titles and expertise are bad. He says the problem comes when we use them to elevate ourselves above others instead of using them to serve others better. A doctor's title should remind them of their responsibility to heal, not their right to be treated as superior. A teacher's knowledge should be used to lift up students, not to show off how smart they are. The phrase "you are all students" is revolutionary. It means we're all learning, all growing, all figuring it out together. The moment we think we've arrived, that we have nothing left to learn from others, we've lost the plot. I've learned some of my most valuable life lessons from people without fancy degrees or impressive titles, from my grandmother's wisdom about relationships, from a janitor's perspective on finding joy in simple work, from children's honest questions that cut right to the heart of things. Jesus then drops this bomb. The greatest among you will be your servant. In a world obsessed with climbing ladders and getting ahead, this sounds almost ridiculous. Servants? Really? But think about the people who've had the biggest positive impact on your life. I bet they weren't the ones with the most impressive titles. They were probably the ones who served you, who listened when you needed to talk, who helped when you were struggling, who put your needs before their own comfort. The final verse is the kicker. All who exalt themselves will be humbled, and all who humble themselves will be exalted. This isn't just spiritual karma, it's practical wisdom. People who constantly promote themselves eventually turn others off. We can smell arrogance from a mile away, and it repels us. But genuine humility, that draws people in. It makes others want to be around you, learn from you, follow your lead. I think about leaders I actually respect. They're the ones who remember your name, ask about your family, admit when they don't know something, and give credit to their team. They use their position to lift others up, not to make themselves look good. That's the kind of greatness Jesus is talking about. This doesn't mean we should have low self-esteem or refuse to acknowledge our gifts and achievements. It means we hold them lightly, use them generously, and remember that whatever we have is meant to serve others, not just ourselves. It means we stay curious, stay teachable, and stay connected to our common humanity. In our social media world, this is countercultural advice. Instead of crafting the perfect image to impress others, what if we focused on how we can serve others? Instead of demanding recognition, What if we looked for ways to recognize others, instead of trying to be the smartest person in the room? What if we tried to be the most helpful? The beautiful irony is that when we stop chasing greatness and start serving others, we often find the kind of respect and influence we were looking for all along. But by then, it doesn't matter as much because we've discovered something better, the deep satisfaction that comes from making a real difference in people's lives. So here's the challenge. What if today, instead of trying to impress someone, you tried to serve them? What if instead of promoting yourself, you promoted someone else? What if instead of demanding respect, you gave it freely? That's the upside-down kingdom Jesus is inviting us into, where the last are first, the humble are exalted, and true greatness is measured not by how many people serve you, but by how many people you serve.